So LeeAnne, why don't you tell us, I'm going to move a little closer, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your story?
I have both chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. I'm 55 years old. I've been sick since 1999 when I was 38 years old. I begged for help at my family doctor's office, and for 9 years I was dismissed as stressed, needed exercise, needed relaxation, and I didn't get diagnosed until I had a full physical collapse in 2008, and I've never returned to work, so I am one of the millions missing. You'll hear my voice is starting to fade out because your energy drains quickly with this.
At any time, let me know and we can stop this.
That's okay. It's okay. I was determined. It's the first time I felt well enough to come out to something like this, and I think we're among the most discounted medical conditions that exist certainly in the Western medical system. So I also want to put a face to it because I don't think there's anything for us to be ashamed of. And I think they take advantage of people by shaming them. I was so hard on myself the 9 years I wasn't diagnosed. I gave up all physical activity, all social life, and I just thought there was something terribly wrong with my personality or my coping.
Yeah.
And
you withdraw a little bit.
Yes,
from everybody.
yeah, and I know if I was diagnosed and given proper recommendations and care, I would never have become as permanently disabled as I am, and I don't want that to ever happen to anybody else.
Hence why we're here trying to make some kind of change and pull some kind of attention to the subject. Now, what are you hoping to get out of this today and this sit-in sort of trying to bring attention? What are you hoping the end result is going to be for everybody?
I think there's a great unfairness in the Canadian medical system that every medical system has to be rationed, and ours appears to be biased towards existing investments. And if there's no new money in healthcare, an illness like ours that has no treatment, I have no specialist, and that has no research. We can speak in a moment about the recent decision by the CIHR. So there is not existing funding, and they will never reduce the funding for existing programs or illnesses. So we're supposed to accept this, and it's a human rights issue. This is also, I want to be very clear, this is not an orphan disease or illness, because at least 400,000 Canadians have chronic fatigue syndrome, myalgic encephalomyelitis, and probably almost 1.5 million have fibromyalgia. And the majority are women in middle age without adequate disability insurance. So I'm getting more and more pissed off, and I've never had the energy to come down. So thank you for speaking to me.
No, I'm absolutely with you 100%. What are your thoughts of what's happening upstairs?
Upstairs, I understand, is our Canada Health Regional Office. We had a recent decision made by the Canadian Institute for Health Research not to fund some basic research into chronic fatigue syndrome that some scientists wanted researched. And their reason was that this is not a disease, that it's psychosomatic. And I was disgusted because Canadians have led in some of the early work, including the Canadian consensus criteria for CFS. And so I think all Canadian scientists, all Canadian doctors, and all Canadians should be ashamed and embarrassed. And Jane Philpott should reverse that decision, or at least the language used in that decision, by next week.
Fascinates me how the promises made to get into the office are never fulfilled once in the chair. And I find that a lot of things are spewed and promises are made, but then when you get upstairs, you don't come down to the people. Is it the people that put her upstairs? So why isn't she down here with the people supporting what they need? That's what confuses me. So.
Well, at least coming down and asking what our message is, and if it's not her, one of her senior staff, yes.
Yes.
Are you aware that the office is closed today purposely because of this?
I had no idea, no.
Yeah, the officers inside just told us that upstairs is closed, and I think she went for a long coffee break today.
Well, I'm surprised because we couldn't be less threatening. We don't even have the energy to hurt her. I have to go home now and recover for 2 weeks.
And on that note, that puts the face to the disease, to the reality of what we're trying to do. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone.